Hello everyone. This is the third part of the story Game of Thrones, the Prideful one. Chapter 17. Balon had given me 100 loyal ravens to serve me. Poor man, if only he knew that every time he tries to send a message, a cry for help, he is only making me stronger. During the first few days in the Iron Islands, I stabilized the camp in the coast, making sure to kill all opposition, with one kraken nearby to defend it should any trying to sail away. So after quite a significant amount of planning, it was time to move forward. It was time to claim the Salt Throne for me, and I would take immense satisfaction in doing so. It would be the ultimate poetic justice for what his people had done. They took everything from others, and now I would take everything from them. My Raven squad were still on their rampage, killing man by man. They really have earned their corn by this point. The screams of pain filling and thundering inside the island, bringing terror and despair to my enemies and allies alike, mostly because my allies didn't know those screams were a product of my own making. It was time to take what was mine. In the end, I had resolved to not kill all the Ironborn in the Iron Islands, just the Greyjoys, the ruling house, and those who follow them, but I would allow the other houses to kneel and pledge their life to me, or die. I knew this blind loyalty I wanted from them was not easy to obtain, so I had a plan to make them follow me. When faced against crazy psychopaths that kill, steal, and rape for a living, that also happen to be incredibly religious, there is only one option: make them believe you are the chosen one by their god. And with my krakens, I would make them believe their god chose me. If I played my cards correctly, and they were as stupid as I thought, I would get around 15,000 soldiers, loyal ones. There was always the case they didn't fall in line or didn't stay loyal. In that case, killing them would be easy. In the sea, I was a force to be reckoned with. My krakens made me the best in this battle environment, so if they ever betrayed me, I would drown their men and families under my thumb. The castle is right ahead, my lord. I see. Start your formation, I ordered them. My bears divided between my 3 squadrons, attacking from all directions, making a triangle, while thinning my army would usually be bad. With this I would. Let's show these krakens why you don't mess with the bears, I shouted, rallying my men up. Aye. My men shouted in agreement. Morale was high thanks to how much we were crushing them. Ned Stark point of view. I arrived at Bear Island with Cat and some of my men. We wanted to take Sansa with us, in case the worst came to happen, but we found a problem. I apologize, father, but I won't leave. Sansa didn't want to leave, she wanted to stay. Sansa, we are doing this for your own good. Cat countered angrily, you are not married yet, this is not up for discussion. I know he will come back. Sansa said, trailing off, was my little she-wolf in love? The last raven we got from him said they took control over the coast. Meej offered, in disbelief. Like her, I couldn't understand how he was winning. He is winning? Cat inquired, as if she was just lied to. It seems, Meej nodded. Sansa, if something were to happen to him, he would want for you to be safe, I said. I honestly believed he would. He started this war with the Greyjoys for her. Sansa, this is not up for discussion, you will come. Cat added she was worried about what would happen once the young bear died. Fine, can you keep me posted? Sansa agreed, glaring at Cat. I never saw her this challenging, as she asked the she-bear to keep her up to date. We could have forced her to come with us. She was still my daughter, my responsibility, but I didn't want her to resent me should he die. I didn't expect she would fall for him so soon. While it makes me happy, this situation makes it hard, especially since Cat was to break the engagement whether he survives or not. She doesn't consider him a good match anymore. Back to Ronard point of view a week later. Pyke was the stronghold and seat of House Greyjoy, which happened to be located on an island of the same name. Quite creative if you ask me. It took quite a while to reach within their walls and enter the castle. After all, the castle is an ancient stronghold with outstanding defenses. But anything can be broken with enough force. So far, I had taken control of one of the towers that make the castle, but the coward delayed his imminent defeat by cutting my path to the other tower, and for this, he would die slowly and painfully. The towers were connected by swaying rope bridges, and the old bastard cut them, making it nearly impossible to cross. So I had to improvise. I put some of my men to make wood bridges with the wood we had collected in the first tower to cross the breach, while my raven swarm killed any men stepping out to shoot arrows at us. Message. Lady Stark wants to break the engagement. Lord Stark does not. One of my ravens in Winterfell came, so it seems they took Sansa. Taking a deep breath, I took a piece of paper and wrote, Lord and Lady Stark, I must apologize if I had by any means make your life and those around me go in danger. It has come to my attention that Sansa is no longer in Bear Island. While I understand why you took her, I must ask you to not break my betrothal with her. I know what I did may seem a bit reckless, but it was a long time coming, and I will come back victorious, so rest assured I will win, and I will honor my word to protect and care Sansa and be a good husband like I know you will honor. Yours by uniting our families. Lord Mormont. Well, with that and appealing to his idiotic honor side, he would keep his word and would put a stop to his wife. Seriously, that woman is despicable. Sir, we have one of the bridges ready. One of my men entered the room. Be sure to check it. It needs to be able to withstand many bears and men. If I fall, I will climb back just to kill you. I joked, but the poor guy took it to heart and ran away to test the bridge. Oh yeah, as a lord everything I said is in a literal sense, I chuckled. If my calculations were corrected, the old Kraken had around 500 men inside the other tower. I still had above 60% of my army, including my bears and ravens. The bridge is solid, the bears are walking back and forth, the same man said again. Very well, I will go first. I nodded as I approached where the bridge should be. The breach between towers was large, and the fall was big. I still haven't put the bridge, my lord, the man said. I don't need it, but be sure to put it. I smiled as I took off running at full speed, using all my super soldier juice to jump to the other side, landing on one knee on the other side. Holy! The man said in awe. Stop staring at me and put on the damn bridge. I commanded as I entered the other tower. Aye. The man nodded. Chapter 18. The men inside the other tower were scattered, but it didn't matter much. I was on an assassination mission. The old Kraken would be mine, and I would end this, once and for all. Someone go. They never learn. Shouting before getting their weapon out is a bad idea. I continued running through the castle, killing men and avoiding large groups that could have a chance to overwhelm me as I advanced to Balon's chambers. In front of the door leading to the hallway that led to the man I wanted to kill, there were a couple of guards, defending the old rat. There was no avoiding this, so I stood out of the shadows and whistled at them, getting their attention. So you guys want to die now, or when my army crosses to this tower? I asked, expecting my men to be getting over here any time soon. My question wasn't as humorous to them as it was for me, and soon enough, I had every single one of them attacking me. I cut the first man's throat with a long claw while I brutally bashed another man's head against the wall, splattering his brain matter all over the wall. I jumped doing a flip in the air, dodging a spear going for heart, and decapitated the guy. Killing the 3 guards, defending the door. You know, I think this world has seriously messed me up, I chuckled. Killing was just a part of my life these days. I was so numb to the shit. I opened the door leading to the hallway that would guide me to the old bastard in the castle. On the other side, I immediately noticed there were around a dozen soldiers patrolling a single entrance. If my raven were correct, the old bastard was there, so with nothing else to do, I charged out into them. Killing the fist Ironborn in my way before he could even react, stabbing him in the heart with long claw. He yelled out in pain, coughing blood as he fell to the floor dead. Bastard! An angry Ironborn tries to attack me. But I dodged the attack, taking a single step to the side, and with one quick swing of my blade, I severed his head effortlessly from his body, splattering his blood on the castle walls. The next 3 soldiers rushed to attack me, but I ducked under the first attack, dodging it and pushed my sword through his neck, killing him. I blocked the next attack with my shield, and using the momentum I bashed the next man head to the wall with enough force to pop it like a water balloon. With him done for, I turned to kill the last of the guy in front of me, but a crossbow bolt flies into the back of my leg, stopping me, making me flinch in mild pain. I grunt in pain as I turn around to see the future dead guy with a crossbow reloading his weapon. Taking this chance, the Ironborn close to me tried to attack me with his spear, but even with a crossbow bolt on my leg, I outmaneuver him, disarming him and killing him with his own weapon. The guy with the crossbow started to panic, trying to load his weapon as fast as he could while I pulled the spear out of his comrade's dead body and threw the spear at him. Wait! He was probably trying to surrender as if I was going to let him leave, but regardless of that, the spear impaled his chest before he could even finish his last words soon after he dropped his crossbow and died. Motherfucker, that hurt, I grunted as I took the bolt out, that's gonna be an inconvenience for about 2 hours. I immediately turned my attention to the shaking remaining soldiers, who were too afraid to approach. I dashed towards the remaining Ironborn protecting the old Kraken and cut one of them in the throat. He falls to the floor dead, not wanting to waste any more time. I push up, killing 2 more before they can even react. Not wanting to lose any more time, I spun around using the momentum to swing my blade and cut through all of them, decapitating 5 soldiers in one motion. I pull my sword out the last man's neck as the last Iron tries to kill me, but I cut his arm and shoved my sword through his mouth, piercing his skull in the process. Well, the wound didn't make me any less efficient, I said, stretching my leg, but I need to be more careful. One of these days the bolt will go a little bit higher. Finally, after all this shit, there I was in front of the door where the Salt Throne was patiently waiting for me. With a sigh, I kicked the door wide open as I entered. Hello. I entered the throne room, trying to make an epic yet threatening entrance, but I was greeted by Balon shooting his crossbow at me. I simply dodged the bolts as I approached him. Do you really think that's going to work? If so, this is sad. Fucking brat. Balon shouted, grabbing his sword and running towards me, or trying to. He was struggling to move fast. I bashed my shield against his arm, breaking it and making him drop his blade. You lost, I sighed. My men should be entering the tower right now, killing the remaining forces. I won. Fuck. Balon tried to insult me, but I slapped him so hard he lost half of his teeth. I guess this is where Asha gets her potty mouth. I chuckled as I pulled out Longclaw. Normally, I would love to talk more, but I have better things than to waste my time with a piece of shit. So goodbye, I said as I stabbed him in the kidney area, to ensure his last moments to be as painful as possible. Arg! Balon shouted in agony, as I left him there, walking to his throne, sitting, waiting for my men to arrive. It took my men roughly 5 hours to arrive at the Salt Throne, where by that moment, Balon had already died. We have killed every soldier in the castle, my lord, one of my men said. Good. Stabilize the bridges connecting the towers and bring Asha, I ordered them. We have eliminated all the scouts and archers. What else do you need, oh great Cornbringer? A raven flew into my lap, eyeing curiously. One last mission. I want you guys to deliver some messages. To every house in the Iron Islands, it's time to take control of this shitty place, I smiled, petting the raven. Chapter 19. After taking complete control of Pyke and its citizens, avoiding as much havoc and chaos as possible, I decided to send one raven to each house in the Iron Islands, with a single message. Come to Pyke, and kneel to your new lord, for I have been chosen by the drowned god himself to change the old ways. Come and see how I can't be drowned and confirm my claims. I also sent a raven to my house in Lord Stark, informing them about my victory. Dear Aunt, I sent this message to inform you. I have taken control over Pyke, and as you read this, I'm taking control of the Iron Islands as a whole. There will be no more raiding, no more iron price. For now the bears rule over the Krakens, with love. Lord Mormont. Lord and Lady Stark, I happily inform you that the Iron Islands are mine. I have taken control over Pyke, and as you read, the lords of the Iron Islands are coming to pledge their loyalty and banners to me. Once this all over, I will go to Winterfell and pick up Sansa. I will ensure there is no more raiding or anything of the sort. I will eliminate the old ways the Ironborn believe in. May our families be united through blood, love, and honor. Lord Mormont. I knew I was playing dirty by using his honor to keep our betrothal, but considering they are the only house I mildly trust and I didn't want Sansa to go over all the shit she went in the series, I had to do it. Now it was time to wait. I was sure the lords in the Iron Islands would come with their army to take me down, but that was part of the plan. I would prove to them that their so-called god chose me. How? By having a Kraken raise me above the sea. This would make them kneel in admiration or shit their pants, one of the two. You won, just let me leave and I won't bother you ever again, Asha said weakly. I did say I was going to let you live, but only long enough for you to understand how fucked you are. I smiled as I cut her chains, take a boat and leave. This was my last act. I would take everything from her, the last thing a human loses hope. I led her to the coast where she took a boat and sailed. For a moment she thought she had escaped. For a moment she felt relieved. For a moment she felt hope. That was until a Kraken pulled her deep into the sea, eating her. I have stolen everything from you, your house, your dignity, your hope, I chuckled as I walked back to the castle. 1 month later. It took 1 month for all the Iron Lords to come, their ships and armies approaching, threatening to end my life. Everything was going as planned. I would use their fate to my advantage. I was in the sea, on a ship alone waiting to meet them alone, with my krakens close by. Just when they were close enough, just when I was sure they all could see me, I jumped into the water as the kraken destroyed my ship. In a dramatic setting, the Ironborn started to panic. I smiled as I waited underwater, and just when I was sure they felt how fucked they were, I ordered the kraken to rise me above the water in their ships gently, as I stood on one of his tentacles. It was time for the religious scam of the century. I am the chosen one. The drowned god chose me to lead the Ironborn. Who here doubts of this? I shouted as the Ironborn stared at me in disbelief. Eventually they started chanting in approval. As they knelt before me, I had succeeded in my mission. The Iron Islands were mine. I had lost a lot men, but I had won 15,000 soldiers and the greatest navy in Westeros. With a smile of satisfaction on my face, I ordered the kraken to gently put me on one of my newly acquired ships. Let's go to Pyke, I ordered, and the Ironborn obeyed. Their anger had turned into fear and fear into admiration, and soon that would turn into loyalty. 1 month later. The coronation to the Salt Throne was not what I saw on TV or the books. Apparently they skipped various, considering the so-called drowning god himself chose me. It took a while to convince them their old ways were done for. I was close many times just to kill them, be over with this. But I decided to be more rational. After a while, I made them understand that with my guidance we could be rich without stealing, without raiding. The new rules of the Iron Island were clear. They were basically the antithesis of their old ways. Let me make one thing clear, my lords. If any of you break my rules, I will kill your family, friends, and anyone serving under you. Don't think you can hide things from me. I will know, and I will make you pay. Is that clear? I asked every lord in the room with a cold tone. Aye. The lords nodded, some in fear, other in admiration, because to some I was some kind of deity now, but mostly fear. Good, now leave. I will send ravens with my orders to stabilize the economy here. For the moment we will focus on fishing. The drowned god has blessed our seas, so go. I said, knowing full well my krakens would keep an eye of them and help the fish, but if they step out of line they would die. I left a pair of krakens per island to ensure I had a way to kill them should they rebel. Tywin Lannister point of view. Like I expected, the young lord won, and was now or on his way to become the new High Lord of the Iron Islands. Tyrion would only ruin this. I needed to make him our ally, myself. Set a carriage. I am to leave to the north in a fortnight. I ordered a servant. Cersei point of view. The young lord of House Mormont had won the Salt Throne to protect his future wife. Man are pathetic. Anything with tits will drive them to war. He will by now be a High Lord. Jaime smiled, pouring me a cup of wine. Of thieves and rapers, what an accomplishment. I smiled, kissing my brother as he stripped me. Theon Greyjoy. I had lost it all, my family, my birthright, everything. I lost everything to that bastard. He took what was mine. He sat in my throne. He will pay for this. I will kill him. Chapter 20. In the end I had to stay another month in the Iron Islands before leaving to Winterfell. I had to ensure all the Iron Islands started fishing and collecting pears, as I commissioned alcohol factories to the islands. After everything was ready, with the factories being designed and the Ironborn fishing, I took off with some of my men to Winterfell. I left the majority of my men behind to ensure they fixed some stuff in the castle. As I sailed, I couldn't help but wonder if I should take Pyke as my main seat, or keep it on Bear Island. We'll be in Winterfell in a fortnight, my lord, one of the Ironborn said, as we took off. Perfect, I nodded as I went to my cabin to sleep, something I haven't done properly in a while. Catelyn Stark point of view. Ned refused to break the betrothal. Why couldn't he see what I saw? Ronald Mormont was reckless, and didn't think things through. He might have won the war against the Iron Islands, but what if he starts another war, brings our end? Ned, I beg you, please, consider this. I pleaded. Cat, I know what you feel, but I gave my word. He did what he did to protect Sansa, and I think Sansa loves him. I can't break her heart, Ned said, standing his ground. Theon is the rightful heir of the Iron Islands. He won't stand by and let him take it, I said as I took my leave. He can't take anything, without men, Ned muttered as he sighed. Sansa Stark point of view. Ronard had won. It's been months since I last saw him, and I can't help but feel happy he won, that he is safe, that he is coming back to me. Maybe I am in love? I don't know. But the thought of him dying was painful. I prayed to the gods he would survive. I prayed for his victory. I miss our dates, the way he laughs, how carefree he is, how charming his smile is. I miss kissing him, I simply miss him. 2 weeks later, Ronald Mormont point of view. I was finally seeing the gates of Winterfell from afar. 2 weeks of sea and months of fight and war were really taxing, but I had won, and that's all that mattered. I was now the High Lord of the Iron Islands and the Bear Island that was loyal to House Stark. Though I knew many lords in the north would fear this new political power I had acquired, and would want to marry me to the north, to ensure my loyalty. If Lord Stark broke my betrothal, it would be a political suicide. I was the biggest taxable income in the north, and now I was a military threat. But even if he didn't care about that, his honor would bound him to keep my betrothal, because I had kept my word. I had made Sansa as happy as I could and I had protected her. "We are here, my lord," one of my newly acquired men said, snapping me out of my reverie. Inside I was greeted by Lord Stark and his children once again. Sansa this time was smiling at me, as if eager to run out of her family formation and hug me. That was new. "Lord Stark," I greeted, but unlike last time I was here, I didn't bow to him. "Lord Mormont," Lord Stark offered me a handshake. "My lady," I approached Sansa, kissing her hand. "My lord, I prayed to the gods you would come back to me," Sansa said with a sweet smile, raising an army of red flags. Perhaps it was a bad idea to make everyone believe I started the war for her. I didn't expect her to fall for me this fast. "Then your prayers have been answered," I smiled back, putting a mental note to deal with this later. "Lady Stark," I greeted, and if eyes could kill, she would have my head on a spear. "Lord Mormont," Catelyn Stark practically hissed. I eyed her carefully for a minute, wondering what the hell was her problem, but I stopped my quest for an answer when I realized I don't care. "Robb, good to see you," I smiled, noticing he had conflicting feelings about me. For one, he was happy, and at the same time mad I took what was supposed to belong to his friend Theon. "I'm glad you came back," Robb said with a serious look. "May we speak in private, Lord Mormont?" Lord Stark requested. "As you wish," I nodded, following him to his solar. Inside of his solar, Lord Stark sighed as he served 2 cups of rum and sighed. "Do you have any idea how many problems you caused?" Ned Stark rubbing his temples. "I do, but I assure you, the list of problems I took care of is infinitely bigger than the one I generated." I nodded. "My wife wants to break the betrothal," Ned Stark admitted. "I got that vibe when she stabbed me with her eyes. Quite a dangerous glare she has," I chuckled. To my surprise, this made Ned Stark laugh. She can do that." I did what had to be done. They were a disease spreading and destroying everything in their way, I said with a cold tone. I had taken control over the disease, and I will cure it. No more old way. Ned Stark eyed me curiously before he sighed. Perhaps it was for the best. It was, I nodded. Without the Ironborn doing what they used to do, I would ensure a safer North as a whole, and I would also erase a threat in the map. Theon Greyjoy point of view. The man that destroyed my life was here. The man that took everything from me was here. This was my chance. He would die. He would pay the iron price. I would make sure of it. I would avenge my father and sister, and all my fallen brothers. I would claim his head, and the salt throne as it was my right. Theon, think this through. Robb said with a worried look. He will die by my sword, Robb, one way or another, but he will die today. I growled as I put on my armor and got ready to challenge the bastard to a duel. Unbeknownst to them, a raven was carefully listening to their conversation and flew to warn his master, "Caw-caw-caw, you bitches." Chapter 21. It seemed that for now my betrothal was safe, but now I had to deal with a girl in love. I wasn't so sure how to deal with the conundrum. While she looked like a woman, she was a girl and what mattered for me. But I suppose everything ended the way it was meant to be. "Jon, how have you been?" I inquired. Right now, Jon was working on the stables, cleaning the horses and brushing their manes. "I've been good, Lord Mormont," Jon smiled, trying to be polite. For him I was a lord, and he was a bastard. Social stigmas in this world are quite troublesome. "Just call me Ron or Ron," I offered, cutting him off when I saw he was about to refuse. "Consider that my one lordy order for you, shall we?" "I suppose," Jon smiled. "Where are you, bastard?" Theon Greyjoy shouted, his tone full of anger and hate, that much I could tell. I suppose that's for me. I'll leave you to your work, and by the way, should you ever need employment, be sure to reach me out. I smiled as I started to walk out of the stable. It seemed Theon had exploded earlier than I anticipated. Don't hide! Theon shouted, and many people started to gather close to him to see the show he was putting. I'm gonna take a wild guess and say you were looking for me? I chuckled, walking towards him. I will kill you. Theon growled with a sword in hand. Or disappoint me. Go ahead, flip that coin, I taunted him. Theon rushed towards me, sword in hand, and started to hack his blade wildly, as I dodged his attacks with my hands on my back, purposely mocking him. Stop running! Theon growled, angry at not being able to hit me. Stand and fight like a man. That's not how fighting works. You attack, I dodge. Simple, I laughed, as I dodged another incoming attack, ducking under his swing. Ah! Theon started to shout, losing all coordination, swinging his blade like a child throwing a tantrum. You are more likely to hit yourself than me if you keep going like that. I smirked at him, which made him shout even louder. Theon, stop this madness, Lord Stark arrived, shouting angrily. Don't worry, Lord Stark, it's not like he can do much. Just let the toddler throw his tantrum, and then after he tires himself out he can take a nap to chill things out. I turned to full attention to Lord Stark, as I continued to dodge Theon's assault. You think you have won everything, don't you? Theon said, panting. You may have won my lands, this battle, and everything else, but I have won something you haven't. And what is that? A pity contest? I chuckled, but mildly interested to see where he was going with this. Sansa's cunt, Theon smirked, and gasps could be heard in the crowd. While you took my lands, I made her a. I didn't know what happened next, but something snapped inside of me. Was it anger? Yes. Was it for what he said? Not really, I knew he was lying, but anger blinded my mind, and in the split of a second, I was in front of Theon, swinging at him with my bare fist, hitting him in the jaw with a powerful punch. I could feel its jaw shatter under my fist as tooths flew out of it. Not letting Theon recover, I grabbed him by his right arm, throwing him into the air. Then I jumped up, delivering a powerful kick to his back and feeling his spine shatter into 1,000 pieces. Theon slammed into the ground with a heavy thud, screaming in pure pain, but it wasn't enough. I wanted more. I dashed towards the screaming bastard and punched in the face, feeling his nose shatter. I punched him again, tearing off part of his cheek. I continued to punch, with each hit being even harder than the last one, eventually making one of his eyes burst. Theon tried with all his might to cover up his face with his arms, but with a pair of powerful blows, I broke his arms, bending them beyond recognition. With nothing stopping me now, I punched him again and again and again, shattering what was left of his jaw, destroying the remaining teeth he had, crushing and deforming his lips. Theon was barely recognizable at this point, no longer looking human-like, but I don't care. I want him to suffer more, so I continue punching, tearing pieces of its flesh off with each punch. That was until I feel someone holding my fist softly. That's enough, please, he lied. Sansa said, holding my blood-covered fist with concern in her eyes, with her delicate hands covered in blood. I had. Sorry you had to see that. I didn't love her, so why did I react so violently when he used such an obvious taunt? Why I felt the need to torture him so much? I could have ended this in a single attack, if death was my goal. I know it's your right to kill him, but please let me punish him. He not only insulted your honor but ours, Lord Stark requested as I stood up. Do as you please, but if I ever see him again, I will kill him, I sighed as I turned to the deformed Theon on the ground, if I didn't do it already. You won't see him again, Lord Stark said grimly. The Maester informed Theon will most likely die, and if he by miracle survived would be a quadriplegic blind cripple. Apparently the damage I had delivered was beyond any modern medicine to repair. I was holding back, mostly because I wanted him to suffer, so I held back. I wanted to see his life fade as I punched him. Anger during that fight you let control, powerful inside of you, the dark side of the corn I feel. A raven said as he walked towards me. Great, just what I needed, a raven, Yoda. Go away before Disney sues me, I chuckled. Come back, I will, for help I bring, the raven said as he flew away. But Raven Yoda was right. I let something so obviously fake fire up my emotions, and the worst part was, I was not even in love with Sansa. Yes, it would have angered me if she slept with another while I was fighting, but not to the point of going full batshit crazy. Knock knock. It's me, Sansa, can I come in? I heard Sansa request through the door. Sure, come in, I sighed. Sansa entered the room with a picnic kit on her hands and a soft smile. You still owe me a date, how about we have an inside picnic? Sansa inquired, smiling as if she didn't see me beat to a pulp someone she had known longer than me. Fine, that sounds lovely actually, I nodded as I sat on the floor of my room, seeing Sansa set up the picnic. Extra cheese on your sandwich, right? Sansa inquired with a smile. Yeah, go easy on the tomatoes, I nodded. All right. Here you go, Sansa gave me my double cheese meat sub, as she turned to make hers. So, how you've been? I asked, taking a bite of my sub. I've been great, well. Now that you are here, being apart made me realize that. Sansa flushed in a cute pink tone as she stared at me, that I love you. That might be a bit of a stretch, right? I mean, I know I'm charming, but... I coughed. You are everything I have ever dreamt in man. I can only hope I am everything you want in a woman, Sansa said without hesitation. I sighed. While I would have wanted her to fall for me on a later date, this was an inescapable event that would come one day. I wanted her to love me so she would be safe from all the shit she went through in the original timeline. But I wasn't mentally ready to speak with an 11/almost 12-year-old girl above love, so time to change the subject. Did Arya find out about your new hobbies? I chuckled. She did. I never saw her more happy and friendly with me, and now uses me as an excuse to learn. Mother was furious, saying a lady does not partake in such things. Sansa laughed. I imagine as much, and what did you tell her? I chuckled. Whatever a lady partakes in, be it cooking or sword fighting, it's ladylike, Sansa said, laughing even harder. Oh, no wonder she hates me so much, aha, if I knew you were going to tell her that I would have won the war faster, just to see her face, I laughed. It was all good until she sent me to my room, and punished me, Sansa pouted. I'll say it was worth it, I laughed. Arya seems to agree with you, she says that we are a new breed of ladies, the cool ladies, Sansa giggled. Oh God, ha ha ha, your sister is adorable, I laughed, choking a bit on my sub. She can be, sometimes, Sansa agreed with me. What did your father say, though? I inquired, cleaning my tears. He didn't say much. He found it amusing, but let Mother punish us nonetheless, Sansa answered. We continued talking for hours as we ate, and drank, juices of course. I really needed this, I haven't laughed in quite a while. This marks the end of part 3 of the story Game of Thrones, The Prideful One. Thank you for listening. Please like the video and hit the subscribe button to listen more. Hit the bell icon to get notified of all the new content uploaded to the channel ASAP.